Hi, welcome to Introducing OmniGraffle 7. I'm Mark Bosco, the video producer of the Omni Group, and with me is Dan Walker,
Hi.
the OmniGraffle product manager. How's it going, Dan?
Great.
We're doing this live, obviously, so if you want to ask questions in the Facebook chat room, we'll try and answer them during the show. If we don't get to your question during the show, you can go to send an email to omnigraffle@omnigroup.com, and our support humans will be happy to answer your questions. So where can people go if they want to get a trial download and follow along with us if they don't have OmniGraffle already?
You can get a copy directly from our website. If you go to omnigraffle.com, you'll be taken right to our page where you can download a copy of OmniGraffle. It includes a 14-day free trial, so you can try out both the standard and the pro feature sets before you buy it.
Right.
Go ahead.
And some of the things we're talking about today are in the pro version, but the trial defaults to pro, so you can test that out and see if it's right for you.
You can also get it as a free download on the Mac App Store, where you can do the same free trial and then also purchase either standard or pro.
Okay, cool. So what's the first thing you're going to show us here, Dan?
Well, let's dive right into OmniGraffle. The first thing we have is our infinite canvas. This is, as far as the eye can see, white canvas for you to get your work done.
All right.
Over here on the right-hand side is the canvas inspector, and this gives you an idea of your infinite canvas controls. Now, if I were to tap this icon here, so you can see that if you prefer the non-infinite world, you can get to your just basic canvas here. But one of the powerful features in Graffle 7 is that you can, if you're working on a certain project that you want to constrain in certain dimensions, you can infinitely resize in certain directions. So if I wanted to make a web page design and restrict the width to 700 here, and I can come over here and click the down arrow, and now my infinite canvas is only extending in the down direction. So I can start designing, and as I need more space, it's like infinite scroll. It just keeps adding more canvas for you.
Very cool.
All right, so it's a little blank right now.
Sure.
Let's get some content on here. First, get zoomed in a little bit. One of our biggest feature requests has been SVG import support. So we've added that in Graffle 7. Let's go over here to this icon, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this SVG code here. Just as the code, I can bring it over here into OmniGraffle, and when I paste, it automatically takes that SVG code and renders it out as the graphic and puts it on the canvas for you.
So you just copy the SVG code right out of the page.
Yeah, it makes it really easy to get started.
Can you explain what we're seeing at the bottom of your screen when you copied and pasted?
For our presentation today, I have a little helper that'll display to you which keys that I'm pressing. So right now I'm holding down the command key. If I switch to the option key, you'll see this, or the control key, you'll see this. This is just so that if I'm doing something on screen, you'll be able to see what I'm doing, so you can play along.
Great. And I assume with the SVG stuff, you can import it in the regular other ways, import files or...
Yeah, you can drag files in, you can use the open panel, all the standard ways to bring in content as well.
Okay. So what if we wanted this a different color?
Okay, so if this Graffle green is not quite your color, you could use our new fill palettes over here, and just click one of these colors and swap out the color to what you prefer.
So you've got the palette with some preset colors in a kind of a basic color layout, so you can easily pick some stuff and get started a little faster.
Yeah, it actually works really well for diagramming, because you can take a complex diagram and say you have like pieces of your organization or teams that you want to call out. Just pick a color for each one of those teams. If you use the same color, if you choose a quadrant of the color palette here and stick to that quadrant and change your colors out, you end up with a really good diagram really fast.
What if I know we have stencils available on Stenciltown. It's stenciltown.com you can go to. But it's all available from the Stencils button in the app. I know some of them have like color swatches and stuff. How does that work, getting stuff in there?
Stencils aren't just for recreating objects over and over, like different designs you've made. You can also use them as like a style palette. So in Graffle 7, we have a stencil button up here in the corner. You tap on this and you get quick access to all of your stencils. It keeps the same organization that you have already in the resource browser, but gets you quick access to it in the app. If you're going to be spending a lot of time in Stencils, using Stencils, you can click this little icon in the corner here, and this will pop out and become a floating window. So now you can quickly see your color sets and things and work with it always available.
What if I wanted it in that window all the time? Is that an option?
So right now, each time you click on the button, it becomes a popover, and you can tear it off. If you prefer this floating window, we have some preferences here. Inside the general preference, there is a used floating stencil window. Check that, and it'll always float with you.
Okay.
While we're here, we've added a few more options to our preferences. General got a little bit long, so we added a new canvas tab and started breaking things out there. But the biggest one is actually this appearance tab, where you can change your default guide color, smart guides, and Bezier control handles. So if you're working with, I know that if you're working with a lot of like reds and stuff, and you're trying to create Bezier shapes that are also red, those colors can conflict and make it really hard to grab those handles. You can come in here, change that to something that works better with the artwork that you're creating.
Okay. That's cool. I do like the bubblegum pink, though, so...
You're going to stick with that
I'm
one?
going to stick with that.
All right. So let's get back to the stencils here.
Yeah.
You were saying if you wanted to choose other colors. We have a couple of color sets here. There's more on Stenciltown. But inside the stencil window here, you get your style tray again. So if you were to choose something like this green here, you can grab a particular style from that, and let's say this fill color here, grab that over to my shape, and now it's that same color. I didn't have to make a circle on the canvas or anything like that. I can just grab certain attributes.
That's very cool. That's super handy. I know that's been around for a while at the bottom. Well, we're on top of it right now. If I get up for a second, you can see it there at the very bottom of the screen. That style tray, but it's. That was something I didn't realize exactly how it worked for a long time, and it's very cool to see that you can just drag either the fill or the stroke or any elements of the style of an object onto another object and copy those over.
It's pretty powerful.
So,
all right, let's get back to our graphic here. Let's add a little bit more content. Let's create maybe some text here. OG7. Actually, let's make this a little bit bigger so everyone can see. Set my font here.
and just so you know, we're recording this video as well, and it's going to be put up on our website later today. And it'll be Facebook, I think, compresses things a little bit more than, and it might be hard to see some of the fine details here. We're trying to zoom in when we can, but it'll be in full HD resolution when we post it up on our site later, so you can rewatch it and see all the details.
All right, so I've already run out of space in my design here, so I'm going to go back over here and get my infinite canvas back. There we go. Perfect. Now, I'm going to position this in here. So we have smart guides that'll kind of help you figure out exactly where this is positioned, where you want to position it.
Mm-hmm.
But we've updated our alignment inspector down at the bottom here. And once you have a couple objects selected, you can see from these little icons exactly what the alignment's going to do. So I can align these to center like this. If I switch over here to the canvas, if you're working in a canvas environment where you have a defined space, you can also align to that canvas. But now we've got things center aligned. I'm kind of looking at this and I'm thinking I need a little bit more control over these characters. So I'm going to use a new Pro feature to convert this text into shapes. And if we jump over here to the sidebar, you can see that it's created a new group that actually contains 3 Bezier shapes, the O, the G, and the 7.
Mm-hmm.
Each one gives you absolute control over those those shapes.
Okay.
Let's take a little closer look here. I don't think I actually need the O and the G. Let's just stick with the 7 here.
Okay. What if you're aligning that and you wanted to do a lot of alignment at once?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to I know we have keyboard shortcuts for a lot of stuff. Is there a keyboard shortcut for that?
There is. In fact, in Graffle 7, there's a whole host of keyboard shortcuts that you can define for yourself. So if we come into the keyboard shortcuts menu, and if we just type align, it's going to show you all of the alignment options that you can set keyboard shortcuts for. And I could come in here and I could say, well, let's make Command L be for left alignment, Command R for right alignment, maybe Command T for top, and B for bottom. So
it seems like you've got a lot of little warnings there. Is that?
Yeah. I've actually created some conflicts. OmniGraffle is trying to tell me that, hey, there's something else using Command L. I don't know which one you want.
Mm-hmm.
You need to sort this out. I'm just going to hit the icon up here, clear my search here, and now I can see, here's all my conflicts together. Well, I don't need to hide and show the rulers, so let's get rid of that one. I've converted my fonts into text now, so get rid of that. Bold we'll take care of later, and we don't need to lock anything. Now we can go back and we can see that, okay, Graffle knows now these are the keyboard shortcuts I want. And then I can save these and call these my alignment shortcuts here.
Okay.
And this makes it really easy to switch back and forth between the default set that you're used to in OmniGraffle and your alignment set. So you can create sets for the specific work you're doing and then switch out of them really easily.
Okay. And I believe if you have the Pro version, you can even save these and, for later use or share them with others. Or...
They'll always be saved to your computer here, but if you want to sync these over to another computer, you can import those, you can export those.
Mm-hmm.
Once you export them, just double click on them in the Finder and they'll import right in.
Very cool.
We have also added a couple of keyboard shortcut sets for Adobe and Sketch. If you're familiar with those keyboard shortcuts, it makes it really easy to continue your muscle memory over in Graffle. All right, let's switch back to the defaults before I get confused here. And let's go take a closer look at our icon here. Now, if we wanted to make some adjustments to this 7 and really work on its exact shape, make it really meld with our graphic, we could resize it, but really what I want to do is kind of grab its Bezier points. We've added a new Bezier point tool in OmniGraffle 7. So
nice. So I know that was always an issue for me. If you grab it and you're trying to grab the Bezier points, but you have the resize handles in the corner, and it's there's also a Bezier point in the corner, and how do I get to that one behind the other one, right?
It can be tricky sometimes. Yeah. This way, with the selection tool, you always get your resize handles, and with the Bezier point tool, you get just the Bezier points. They're not conflicting and fighting with each other for your screen real estate.
Okay.
So let's see. We've got our points here. We can just grab one of these and start manipulating. We can work with this guy, maybe add a new point over here.
Mm-hmm. Nice big chunky 7.
There we go.
Looks like,
There we go. got like a little lump on it here.
Yeah, it's like you're adding a battery pack to the back of it. Right?
That's right. That's right. Graffle 7 now supercharged.
Okay.
All right, so we've got our 7 here. We've got our shape here. Let's go ahead and group these together, and now we've got the perfect shape we want, and we can now move it as one piece.
Okay. I noticed this before in the sidebar. Now with the groups, it has the triangle that you can twirl down and see what's inside the group.
That's right.
I believe in the new version you can also rename. You can rename the group. You can rename things inside the group.
It's true. Let's talk about the sidebar for
All
a
right.
minute. We've done a lot of work here to make this a more powerful tool for working with your content. So like Mark said, you can rename this and call this my awesome icon just by double-clicking the name. I can click in and rearrange content in here if these were if these were on top of each other, they'd be a little easier to see. I can also create some new shapes here and draw something out here. I can just drag something into the group and add it in. Makes it really easy to work, drag something right back out, and it makes it really easy.
And the way the sidebar is combined now, even with if you have multiple canvases with multiple layers, you can just drag and drop between any of them. It's not, the canvases aren't separated anymore.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite features. We've also got a couple more tabs here that you may be familiar with. The Guides tab is a new tab that allows you to create guides, or manage your guides rather. You can grab from the ruler and drag out to get some guides here. This is your favorite bubblegum color here, Mark.
Yeah.
So this we can use then for aligning our objects here, and we can see that we can manipulate the exact position of these over here in the sidebar. Whoa.
Okay.
Let's see here.
So we'll.
Every so often we hit a little problem here, but I do appreciate when you guys send in crash reports to let us know what's happened. We do
Absolutely.
look at every one of those, and we do investigate them and try and sort them out. The latest version actually was pure crash fixes from things people had found. Okay, I think we're back here.
Yeah, made the right sacrifices to the demo gods.
Exactly.
All
All right. So let's go back to our guides tab here.
All right.
And we can pull our guides back out here. And if you're working with these, the appearance tab in the preferences will dictate what your default color is. But you can always come in here and change these. So if you have, if you want your page borders to always be green, but then the content inside you work with in your bubblegum, we support that. And just by clicking on the ruler here, you can hide and show them.
Oh, that's clever. Very handy.
Now, if you're diagramming, you're gonna love the outline view. It's still there, and we have made it we've made it better by adding in this new small icons view. In fact, a lot of people like this on all the tabs, but you can use this to get the preview out of the way. You don't need that, and just start really focusing on the outline for your diagram right here in the sidebar.
Okay.
Let's see. Now, the last tab is a special one. This is the selection tab. And this allows you to select things on your canvas based on their characteristics.
Okay.
Our icon is a little bit simple here, so let's switch over to a different icon or a different file.
Okay.
And see if we. This one over here has a much more complex diagram. You can see that all the different shapes within here are called out as individual shapes or some small groups.
Right.
You can use these filter options up here to kind of drill down into the type of object you're trying to find on your canvas. So over here, we have 4 of these rectangles with this light blue color with a label and a stroke. Looks like they're
You can see them over there on the circuit board.
Yeah, let's see if we can try and pull these together. You can Yeah, the USB ports here, HDMI, all have the same characteristics. Now, if we took away the fill option here, you'd start to see that things start to group together more because there's more things that there's more squares that when you're not looking at the fill, they're all square shaped. You start disregarding the line, you just get the squares regardless of their line type.
Right.
And this works across canvases as well. So if you just needed to find all of the blue squares in your entire document and change them to yellow, it's really easy to do here. Once you have something selected in here, you can just switch over to the right-hand side with your inspectors and change any of the attributes of the selected objects.
Okay, so it's a really easy way to just like select things. You can use that row across the top to select or filter by whether it's the fill or the shape or the text attributes or whatever, and kind of group them that way. And then just with one click, you can select everything in there that matches.
That's right.
So,
okay, let's go back to our awesome icon here.
yeah. So we have this great icon. How do we export it?
Well, we can go up to the export panel, which we've made some improvements to. We now show you a preview of exactly what you're going to get in your output based on the selections that you've made over here on the side.
Okay.
So we can turn on and off the transparency here, and you can see we switch between the checkerboard to show you the transparency and the white background.
Okay.
We have all the outline or all of the export format options across the top. And we've added a new export sizes feature, which is a really great way to export multiple resolutions of your file all in one swoop.
So if you're doing design for like an app, an iOS app,
Yeah.
you're going to do the Retina version and the Super Retina version. And,
Exactly, or the
no.
super, or whatever our kids are going to need at
yeah,
5X.
I'm never going to be able to see that with these glasses, but
Yeah,
good to know it's there.
and by default we call them 2X, 3X, 4X, but you can change these to whatever you need. You can call that Retina. This can be Super Retina. This is going to be kids of the future. And as you click through the preview here, you'll see the same object because we're just exporting multiple sizes of it. But you can see the file name is actually using the suffix that you've grabbed here, and you'll see this dimensions change. So you can see here's Canvas 1 Super Retina.
Gotcha. Very cool. So what is that disabled export from Artboards only feature on the export panel there?
In Graffle 7, we've added Artboards, which we'll cover a little bit of today.
Okay.
But let's get one out here on the canvas for you to see. The Artboard tool is a pro tool that you can use to draw a shape that defines an area on your canvas. So Artboards are they're a way to define an area on your canvas, but they're a little bit more than that because they also respect your layer hierarchy. So things that are above an Artboard layer in your layer stack are going to be affected by the Artboard, and things below that layer are not.
Okay.
So this is really useful if you're creating a toolbar and you are charged with making the buttons on the screen, and the developer doesn't need to actually need an asset for the toolbar. He's got that already, but you want to just export the icons. You can put that toolbar down as like a background layer. You can put an Artboard layer on top of that, and then you can start working on your icons on top of that. The toolbar can remain as like a reference for you to give you some context while you work, but when you go to export, it's not going to be included in the export.
It only does the layers above the Artboard layer.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you can create these icons, export them out, and they'll never have to, you don't have to worry about deleting or hiding layers or setting something to non-printing and
Right.
trying to work around it.
And that's great too for, I know a lot of designers who have used in the past our canvases and set up the canvas to a specific size that they want, for if they're doing like a UX workflow or, designing multiple icons for an app, all the way from the big 1024 down to, the little 32 and 16 by 16 versions. And if you had them in different canvases, then it was hard to flip back and forth and make sure that everything is being designed in relationship to each other well. Whereas now you can have multiple artboards on the same canvas at all the sizes you need and see everything at once. You can kind of see that flow. But then they export. You can export with the border of the artboard itself and get all the little pieces you need.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of another feature in our sidebar here. If you've got multiple artboards and you're kind of working with these defined regions, you can have, if you have multiple on your canvas, you can then use your the sidebar here as a navigation tool. If you right-click on any object in your sidebar here, you see a scroll to selection, which if we're off in our infinite space and just need to find
Where's
that.
my icon?
Let's call this our icon. We need you to find that icon. Just say scroll to that selection and it brings it back into view. And if you're switching between different sized artboards or any object really, say like a small phone screen and then you've got a larger web screen, you can use the zoom feature to automatically fill your view area with the appropriate size content.
Excellent. Did you want to show us the demo that we have of so we can export from the artboards and show what that looks like?
Yeah, let's take a look here. So this graphic already has some artboards set up for us, so we can take a look at it. You can see that these artboards are actually different shapes. Now, artboards are a little bit special. At any zoom level, they are always going to draw the same thickness, just like a guide does. They're always going to be that same fine line.
Okay.
And if we go up here, it's easiest to see in the export panel with the new preview option. You can see that, let's turn on our transparent backgrounds. Now we have that circle shape for this icon. And we have a rounded cornered version for this icon. And then we have that large rectangle version for the banner.
Okay,
and
so
all of these are just artboards inside, or artboard objects defining those areas on the canvas.
let me zoom in there so you can see that it's a circle and kind of a round rectangle and then a regular pointy rectangle.
Yeah.
So an artboard can be any shape that you want. I mean, it could be the OmniGraffle shape, that little squiggle. But we're gonna do a deep dive into artboards tomorrow. So if you come back at 11 a.m. Pacific, Dan and I will be doing a deep dive into artboards and how they all work. Which should be really cool. And actually on Thursday at 11 again, our UX designer, Andrea McVitie, will be here and kind of taking you through, from sketch to like a medium-fi mock-up, showing how you can do UX user flows in OmniGraffle. In the meantime, you can, if you had any questions that weren't answered here, you can always send an email to omnigraffle@omnigroup.com. And our support humans will be happy to answer your questions. And you can also go to omnigraffle.com. That'll redirect you to the right place on our site to get all the information you need about OmniGraffle. You can download your free trial and get the full manual for OmniGraffle 7. All the other details are there. So thanks a lot, Dan.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for joining us.
For joining us, yeah. And we hope to see you tomorrow. See you then.
See ya.